You have always, every time we had share our technology platform with you, you were like, Sagara, stop showing technology, go raise money. You got to scale this thing. And I was like, I'm not sure. So what I'd love to kind of hear from your perspective, outside the big logos like the Salesforce and the SAPs and etc., that they have their own motions in place and they're scaling in a very different order of magnitude. But companies of our size, a little bit larger, why haven't they been able to scale by raising money? Where do you think the challenges are?
We've been limited, number one, by the buyer. We're tracking Crunchbase across these 233, as well as the hundreds of others that are trying, to get on the stack that are maybe in their first seed or angel rounds for their Series A. It's actually $3.2 billion have come into this market in the last couple of years. That's always the question. The first question I get from Wall Street is, I see Salesforce, I see Oracle. So if we ignore those for a second, where are the $100 million, billion valued? Where are the unicorns? For a market that's been around this long, what is the limiting factor? And the idea is when you look at the buyer, there's 35,000 companies who buy into these companies. And that's what makes up the $5.3 billion in spend last year. It's growing by double digits. I mean, it's a solid market. But where are the breakouts? And why aren't we seeing more consolidation? Why aren't we seeing more roll-ups into these larger players? Why haven't we seen any IPOs? It's a limited buyer. If you look at the TAM, the 5.3 billion is actually what was spent last year. You would say, how many people are still on spreadsheets? How many people are not investing to the level they want to? Surveys would say that this is barely half of what companies should be spending. So the TAM would be north of 10 billion, but that's still less than 10% of the Martech TAM. It's a fraction of the sales tech TAM or the CX TAM or the product TAM or HR the TAM or the CFO's TAM. When you look at the $278 billion in SaaS being sold, this makes up a pretty small number. This is a buyer that has a limited budget. They're spending a lot in front and back end margins and gross to nets. It's a highly manual, heavy people business in channel account managers. And this buyer hasn't, much like the decade of sales or the decade of marketing predating us, haven't gone to be very highly technical people investing in automation.